Mm, just looking out of the window, watching the asphalt grow. Doom, doom, seeing how it all looks, hand me down. Good times, hey, hey, good times. Thinking your head above water, making a way when you can. Temporary layoff, good times, easy credit rip-offs, good times, scraping and surviving, good times, hanging in a child line, good times. Ain't we lucky we got 'em? Doom, 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 doom. Good times. That's your part. You.
Oh yeah, I'm not gonna crash that. I had enough of that as a kid.
Good times was recorded in front of a studio audience. You know what's not filmed in front of a studio audience? Live from the Black House. Welcome to this episode of this once a week meeting that we have here. I am super excited about tonight. It's going to be a very good time. No politicos here. Oh, what? But we do. We have one. We have one, but he's also a
I was
musician.
gonna say, don't do me like that. I need every vote I can get in November.
We do, but normally it's political heavy, and today it is not. You know, I don't know if I even told you this, but I'm in like the nonprofit realm, and so I've really been wanting to get more into the arts.
Okay.
And so like my nonprofit organization, we sponsored the one of the scholarships for the Black Cinema Club HTX, you know, with Jerry Madison and I forget the other guy's name. Yeah, that's been like a big like part of what I think liberation truly looks like. I think joy is part of liberation. I think creativity has to be part of liberation. And I think there may be some of you that are out there that work a job that you hate. And I would argue that in 2026, more and more people are searching for the opportunity to find their fulfillment, right? You're not supposed to get your fulfillment at ExxonMobil. You're not supposed to get your fulfillment at HISD. I mean, some people say they love the kids, but let's be honest, they're doing it for the money, right? The teachers, you know, a kid. Don't go on my DMs. We have some very fascinating guests today. There's a movement. It's called Fade to Black. See what I did there? I can use that. I can use that for free. It's called Fade to Black. To my right, your left. I mean, you can write this, right? If I was watching the movie and they were like, his name is Chris Black, I'd be like, come on, Tyler Perry.
This is very Tyler.
Tyler, you got to do better than that. He's got to have a different name. But in this case, it is absolutely true. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Chris Black. Welcome to the Black House.
Hello, and good to be here.
Yes. So, Fade to Black.
Yeah.
Got some stuff coming up.
Yeah.
We're going to get to that.
Okay.
But first of all, how did you get into all of this?
I got into all of this. I mean, we can go all the way back.
Wherever you want to go.
I live in LA now. I live in Los Angeles now, but I was raised in Houston.
Okay.
So anytime anything that has to do with the arts, theater, Blackness happening in Houston, I try to get in where I can fit in. And so I heard about Fade to Black as a 10-minute play festival at first a few years ago, and had one of my pieces, one-act play called Pocketbook in the festival. And then they had a reading festival a couple years later, last year, and I sent one of my full-length plays, Challenging Brown, to that. And then a few months ago, I got a call from Denise O'Neil saying, hey, we want to mount a full production of Challenging Brown. And so that's why I'm back in town. I'm back home to do that. And we open this Friday. Then what is this Friday? What's the date for this Friday?
17th.
The 17th.
I'm going to be there.
July 17th.
Yeah. I got some tickets. I'm going to be there.
Awesome.
And so let's rewind a bit. So you would do, first of all, you're born and raised where?
Here.
You're born and raised here, but now you live in LA.
Yes.
We're not going to charge that against you. You're already paying state income tax. We're not going to hit you over the head. But tell us about, where did you grow up here and what was growing up like where you grew up?
So I grew up. I started in like the Sugarland area.
Mhm.
That's where I'm from, baby.
Hey,
Okay.
and then migrated to Missouri City.
Okay.
Went to Hightower High School.
Okay.
Hurricanes,
That's where I
cocaine.
graduated
Okay.
from.
Really?
I'm a hurricane.
Oh man.
That's crazy.
Slow boogie.
Class of 2017.
Okay.
And so yeah, growing up here was really dope. I mean, it
Yeah.
really is a cultural catalyst, is the only way I can describe it. There's so many cultures, there's so many different kinds of people. Going to school here was such an experience. I think I am who I am because I was raised in Houston and the
Yeah.
specific pockets of Houston. I think, you know, to me, and when I tell people they don't believe me, especially in LA, I also lived in New York, and I say Houston is right up there
Mm-hmm.
in terms of like big cities, right there with New York and LA.
I kind of don't want people to know because then
Well,
stuff
I've
gets
been
out on
telling
TikTok.
people.
Stuff gets out on TikTok,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then they ruin it. And everybody's like, move to Houston, and then
yeah.
right.
But the food, the culture,
Yes.
the
Especially out there
people-
in Sugarland, where you originally
Yeah.
grew up, and Missouri City as well. And so, how did you get bit by this creativity bug?
Well, I think I was always creative. I think I was always a storyteller. I just didn't have the word to use. You know, I tried the things you try, the sports thing. I was the kid who was the really bad freestyle rapper at lunch
Okay.
with the pen and the pencil against the table. Right.
Mhm, mhm.
And then what ended up happening, because I wasn't like exposed to theater in the typical ways. I didn't go to see shows. I didn't go to support my friends who did theater
Mhm,
because it felt so distant to me.
mhm.
Like, to me, theater meant The Lion King.
Yeah.
It meant Cats.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm not about to put on the cat suit.
I will say, I just saw Lion King.
I mean,
on
it's
Broadway,
dope.
and I cried.
It's dope. When they walk down the aisle, Circle of Life.
Yeah. Oh,
Insane.
I was done.
It's
I was
insane.
like, past the collection plate, I'm joining.
But I can't do that. I
Yeah.
can't be the giraffe. You know what I mean?
Ah.
Like, it's just, I don't
you
have
have to be what in that?
What do you mean?
What are you in that? Like, so if there's Monkey, are you the writer? Are you the director?
I would be the writer. Yeah. Yeah,
So
yeah.
you wrote Lion King, and you wrote the idea
I
behind
did. Yeah, I wrote Lion King.
Hey, listen, the Black House.
Right. But what ended up happening was when I was a junior in high school, my school, the theater department at Hightower, hosted like a poetry night or a showcase of talent. And a buddy of mine was like, "You're not so good at the freestyle thing, but maybe you can write a poem."
Okay.
And so I wrote this poem really quick, and I got into the showcase, and I went up on stage and I did this poem. And in like the movie of my life, it's the defining moment when like time stopped, and I realized, oh, this thing that I wrote in class I didn't think that much of is having an emotional connection with people in an audience who I don't know. And whatever that feeling, whatever that rush is, I'm going to chase that the rest of my life. And so that's kind of when I got bit by it.
That is like so cool.
Yeah.
And so, have you ever heard of Tank and the Bangas?
Of course, yeah.
Okay. So I'm a Tank and the Bangas fan. Y'all know Tank and the Bangas? Okay. He does. These two don't. We're gonna get to know them in a little bit. But Tank and the Bangas, imagine Jill Scott, spoken word.
Yeah.
And then there's one other person that I usually throw in there, but she's very much like I found her because of NPR's Tiny Desk.
Yeah.
And her Tiny Desk blew up. It's kind of like a series put on by NPR to introduce you to new music, right? So, boom, listening to her. That was 2017.
Yeah.
Earlier this year, I go to see her live in New Orleans, and it was one of those things where I saw it on like Groupon or something, not Groupon, but like what's the one? Eventbrite.
Mhm.
And it was like $30. We'll let you know the location 24 hours beforehand. I'm like, I was kind of discouraged, honestly, because it was $30. Like, it was $100 or it was $200. I'm like, okay, this is gonna be really good. But because it was 30, I was like, we're gonna be in the open market section of some flea market somewhere. We're gonna be at the World Trade Center. Is the World Trade Center still open? World Trade Center. We're gonna be at the flea. No, we get there. The Uber drops us off. We're like in front of somebody's house.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? So we go in, we sign in and everything, and it was mythical. It was just whimsical. There were like, it was cool. They had the Christmas lights and the trees, and she comes around the corner with king cake. And I'm like, oh,
Wow.
I'm like mind out of body experience. Did the same thing like a month later, exact same setup. But while watching that and experiencing that, she did a few of her pieces, but of course she's a spoken word artist, she's a poet. And so I figured out, because I was like, why is she doing this for $30? Like, I'm counting, there's 50 people in here.
Yeah.
What is that, $1,500? I know the venue costs something.
Yeah.
Is this worth her night? No, this is what she does. Whenever she has a pause or whenever she has a performance in New Orleans, that is her, y'all come see me. Like when you're from Houston, when you would visit from LA, everybody's like, you were in LA, you didn't tell me.
Right.
No, that's her way to do that. And so I was talking to Jerry Madison about this. I was talking to a couple of other folks. I want to do, and I keep calling it Tiny Desk for Houston, but that's not what it is. But that's the easiest way to describe it.
Yeah.
And it is a curated night, but it's a hodgepodge. So it's not all music. It's not all spoken word. It's a monologue. It's a moth type.
Yeah.
Right. But back to you.
Yeah.
You are an artist. You write.
Yeah.
And so after high school, what's next?
Well, after high school, I went to college and I was still doing kind of spoken word. And then for some reason, one day I was like, this isn't how I want to utilize whatever this writing thing is that I found. Because I didn't go to college and like major in English or anything. I've never taken I don't have a formal education in any of the things I do.
I don't either.
Right. But I was like, I still want to do this in a different capacity. And something told me write a play. I had never done it. But I was like, let me try this. So I sat down, I wrote a play. It was bad. But I was like, I love the process of doing this. And so I just kept doing it. And that was in 2019 when I wrote my first play. And then we all know what happened in 2020. But for me, I use that to my advantage. Because in my head, I was like, because I don't have that formal education, because I don't have any connection in this field, no one's checking for me.
Yeah.
Right. I'm a dude from Missouri City.
Yeah.
And so what I decided to do was, since it was 2020, since we were in the pandemic, in my head, I went, all the walls that would usually be in my place don't exist now, because we're all in equal standing. We're all just inside, locked up, not knowing what to do next. So I'm going to use this time to reach out to as many people who I wouldn't otherwise have access to. And so I was sending like 100 emails a day, like cold emails to companies, producers, submitting things, whatever, just being like, I know you don't know who I am, but this is what I do. I'd love to do something together. And of course, you only hear from half of that, and then 25% of that is leave us alone. But it's like, you just need that one. And so those doors started opening in 2020, 2021. So by the time the doors opened back up, like I had a resume from those past 2 years of just being inside, emailing people, and people being like, all right, let's give the kid a chance. And so then moved to New York, was still doing the theater thing, having shows pop up in New York and LA, just all around out the country. And then got a job writing on a TV show called Raising Kanan, which is what moved me out to LA. And so yeah, so it's been a journey.
You know how Marvin gonna die and all that already?
Who said he did?
Oh,
there it is. I love that. I love that.
So, man, I didn't even know that. Okay. So what is it like to be a writer on a show like Raising Kanan? First of all, what was the first? Power was the first
Power
one?
was the first one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ghost.
Now,
Ghost, yeah.
as I hold my black card as snug as I can, okay, I've never seen an episode of Power.
Okay.
Lies, really?
Never.
So you never know Ghost? You don't?
I don't know any. No.
Tommy, none.
I know Tommy's white. Only because of a meme somewhere. It was like a meme, and somebody was like, Tommy. So I'm like, okay, so he's the gangster. And I don't know they drove Range Rovers because I was thinking about getting one. But then they changed the body style, and I was like, good thing I didn't. But what is it like to be a writer on a show like that?
It's really dope. I mean, it's really, I came in later, so everyone who was in the room had been there for a couple of years or a few years at that point. So it was my education. It was me sitting in a room and, being someone who loves sports, who played sports for a time. It's the best team, right? It's like, and no one has any egos because you all have the same goal of just making the best show that you can. So it's like, if you need help, someone's there to pass you the ball, someone's there to take it from you and finish it off. So it was a really great experience. You get to go to set and be there for the entire time they're shooting. And it's interesting because you're bringing your own voice into something that already has its own voice.
Exists.
So it's both contributing what you can while still staying true to what's already been built. And because Raising Kanan is a prequel to the original Power, it's also saying, how do we harken back to that? And how do we tie it together? So like the episode that I wrote by myself came out a couple weeks ago, and it had you get introduced to who Tasha Smith ends up playing in the OG Power, and you find out some stuff about the character Breeze and Kanan's connection, and so it's really fun to kind of put together the puzzle and play the chess game.
That is absolutely fascinating, and I would argue it's
I
probably
want to
funner.
ask a question. So
Go ahead.
So, because we was debating this the other night, so I don't want to give away anything.
Well, you can't. We don't want him to go viral.
No. What I'm asking is something he addressed. Nothing previous.
Okay.
So you said that we're getting a glimpse into OG.
Yeah.
So is that Sean's mom?
That is Sean's mom.
Okay,
that's
so
Jarita.
So that's what we was trying to figure out. Is that Sean? You wouldn't know because you ain't seen Power,
but
he knows exactly what I mean.
It's your moment. How often do you get to?
Yeah, I mean, so that is.
Right.
So now we see. Okay, gotcha.
Okay. And it's got to be fun because
So
Breaking Bad, I think, is one of the best written
for sure
shows ever. I remember everyone talking about it. I didn't see it when everyone was talking about it. I kind of waited because they kept talking about it.
Yeah.
And I remember being like, well, let me go and watch this. And I watched the first episode, and I'm like, he's in the RV in his underwear, and I'm like, I don't think this is the same show.
Yeah.
But then they did Saul, what is it? Better Call Saul.
Better Call Saul. Yeah.
And I remember them saying that, they're doing a spinoff and it's going to be a prequel based on this character. And I'm like, but he was such a simple character, and in a prequel, like that doesn't make any sense. I want to know what happened. What happened with but they did an awesome job doing that. Is that funner, or is that more is that a better experience to be more creative, to write the before or something?
It is a lot of fun because you also get to play in like the 1990s, 1980s vibe. So it's like very specific to a time. So it's like, I remember we had a whole discussion once because someone put a phrase into their script and it was like, did people start saying that in the 90s? Or is that something that people started saying in the 2000s?
To the period.
To the period. You have to like, when you're picking out which cars are driving down the street, on set, it has to be very specific. The music played in the show is of that time and not a month after it would have come out, So it's a lot of fun. I'm a puzzle guy. I'm a figure it out guy.
And plot holes.
Plot holes.
Because then there's some insane fan that's like,
picking it apart. Yeah,
because I remember in this episode when that happened. So that couldn't have. And so you got to watch out for that stuff too.
Like even because in the season that's on now, they're operating out of a pawn shop. The original idea that was pitched in the room and that we had for a little bit was a laundromat, and we were with the laundromat, and then someone was like, "Oh, but in the OG Power, they clean like the money or something in a laundromat," and so it's a lot of laundromat action. So we probably shouldn't do that. So then it got changed to the pawn shop. So it's like things like that. Like there's a whole there are people specifically who really know the show who are there to like check on that stuff. Yeah.
Are you familiar with Black Cinema Club?
I'm not. No.
And Jerry Madison. So I was just texting him earlier today. He did a panel at DreamCon over the weekend.
Right. Yeah.
So they're doing amazing work. They just had their inaugural event earlier this year. He's got a whole ecosystem that is here in Houston that I think, would be great for you to be at least, even if you just know of it, and then they know
100%
of you, to be connected to somebody who has the type of access that you have. That is huge. So what was your first, because that's a huge accomplishment. That is like, you're writing on a show that people know. You wrote an episode of a show. America is what Black America is watching, and you know that you're like, oh my gosh, like yeah, I did that, and you're so the same feeling that they had when you wrote the poetry. Now you get it to a bigger thing.
Yeah, and it's a crazier feeling. I was telling my wife this. I was like, what's crazy to me is that, you know, theater and the poetry thing, I can talk about it, but it's no evidence that it ever happened. Like, I'm sure my mom has a video someplace, but it's like, there's no concrete thing you can just go and find. It's like with the, you know, with Kanan and whatever else I write for TV from this point on, that exists forever.
Are you a band? Any band heads in here? Any band heads online? Y'all chime in. I know Quincy is you.
I like Earth, Wind and Fire.
No, when I say band, like marching band, like Tweet.
I was
Tweet.
tennis drum section leader from 2004 to
Oh, where?
I marched in the
Where?
Ocean. Texas
Oh,
Southern.
Ocean.
I marched in
Okay.
the Ocean, so,
And
high school band. I was in
I mean, you know,
Woolridge.
I mean, that's what
Under
paid for my
Thornton?
schooling.
Okay, that's when they had a
Listen,
band.
I knew what you meant.
That's when they had a band right there.
Because you know when he said band head, that's
that's
that
a
used to be that used
specific.
to be back in my college. That was like the little before social media,
Yeah,
where everyone would throw all the clips from everywhere. It was like a website or something. Band head.
yeah.
I
And
love
marching
bands.
sport,
Marching sport. Yep.
and so
Wow.
I bring that up because one of our episodes, I got to interview Nathan Hamer, who wrote an amazing book. Did you get to read Nathan Hamer's book? Nathan Hamer wrote a book called Juked. He's the former headband director from Southern University, and he had a public sort of fall from grace where, you know, he ends up doing a year in the federal penitentiary. Yeah, it's all over the news. It's everything. And it was one of those things where, like, he's a little older. He may be 5 or 10 years older than me, but I looked up to him because to be the band director at your alma mater at Southern, and you in your 30s,
that's a big deal.
man, you got 30, 40 years to go. So that is going to be, and he was doing these amazing things. So I was really watching that fall. So he gets out and he announces here's an ebook. And so I'm like, man, we all have an auntie, a cousin, a lady at church, a candy lady who has written a book, right? and you get your $20 money order, or you go on and you buy the book and you support, right? And you're gonna skim a couple of pages just to say you did.
Yeah.
I couldn't put it down.
Really.
Couldn't put it down. He was so vulnerable.
Yeah.
I'm like, it was 300 and something pages. I read it in 2 sittings.
Wow.
I put it down the first time only because I was like, you know, when it's 2 a.m, you're not absorbing everything. You don't want to fall asleep with Netflix still going, and then you forget where you left off. Finish it the next time. So eventually I catch up to him and I'm like, man, who wrote this for you? Who wrote this? Because you're not a writer, right? Which ghost writer wrote this for you? And he's like, no, I wrote it. He's like, I wrote it like in prison. And then he said something that he said, it's just like arranging a song. It's just like putting together a halftime show. It's just a different language, but it's the same feeling. It's the same rising action climb. Like and I was like, wow.
Yeah. No, 100%. And that's actually, I refer when I'm writing, people ask about process and stuff. And my thing is every character is part of an orchestra. Every character is part of a band. They each play their own instrument. And that's kind of how I establish their voice. Like which one is the drum? And he's probably more uncertain.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Which one is the saxophone? Who's the smooth character?
Yeah.
Like, and so I think about it in a musical sense, and I don't even play music.
Yeah. I listening to your story, it seems like it was a benefit for you. One of my favorite authors, Malcolm Gladwell, in I want to say it's David and Goliath. He talks about the advantages of disadvantages and the disadvantages of advantages. I would argue, had you been classically trained, had you ... you probably would have adhered to certain rules and
100%.
certain expectations that would have made it blah, but you had to pull it out the mud, and that probably gave you an edge.
Yeah, I think so. And I also think that I was able to, to that point, I was able to maintain the voice of a person
Mm-hmm.
and not the voice of, well, this is how you write a character. This is how you
Mm.
structure something. When I go in to write something, I think of, what would this be if these were real people? Because that's the only thing I know is how real people talk, how real conversations, arguments, relationships go. There's no practice attached to it. It's just humanity.
Mm-hmm. Very similar to the way that Issa Rae wrote or created Insecure.
For sure.
That's where I found Issa Rae. She talks about the importance of collaborating, not just like vertically. So like not looking for people that you look up to, but like the people that are at your level.
Yeah.
Like if you're a cinematographer and that's an audio person, and then sort of creating these ecosystems amongst yourselves. And one of the things that I found interesting about her, I found her with Insecure on HBO, but I like to go down the rabbit hole. Like I would watch the episode, she would have an after episode where you would get more, like I would want to dive deeper into the character. But then I started watching some of her other stuff. So then I found out she actually got started with Awkward Black Girl.
Yeah, the web series.
It was actually horrible when I went back to watch it. It was actually bad. No, but that's encouraging.
Yeah.
I watched the first episode because it's encouraging, because then you see she jumped into the pool with what she had, where she was, and what it was.
Yeah.
And look at what it turned into over the different seasons.
100%.
And they crowdsourced that. And it seems like you sort of live by that. You have built something.
Yeah. And again, when I wrote my first play, it was bad. No one ever saw that, but if they had, they would have been like, this kid does not have what it takes. But it goes back, and I think it was Malcolm Gladwell who said the whole like 100,000 hours thing.
Yes.
That's what it is. It's just like you won't meet a single NBA player who just walked onto the court. Like that's someone who's been playing since they were 5, right? And there's a natural talent element to it. There's okay, I understand the mechanics of this thing, but the skill and to get to that place where I can call it my job, that takes time.
And it takes a certain vulnerability too, because part of the story that you never see when you hear about the 10,000 hours is the fact that the person did it with the same enthusiasm, not knowing that it ends up working out.
100%.
So if you can do the prequel, like if like, oh, you get to be blah, blah, you get to be a writer. So, but you have to do this first, then you'll do it. But imagine taking that same chance, not knowing where it ends up.
And guess what? You still don't, even if when you're in it, you have no idea where you're going to end up in 10 years. Right. So I think, you have to continue having a healthy delusion of being like, there's something inside of me that tells me this is the best idea. And there is no plan B, and I can't see myself going anywhere else. So I, like it or not, for better or worse, gonna have to stick this out and see where it ends up. And I think that every success story hinges on not talent, not skill, not opportunity, not luck, but the ability just not to give up.
That was a clip right there. One of the unfortunate things about doing a podcast is I now see things in clips. So like when I'm interviewing somebody, I'm like, oh yeah, from 116 56 to we chopping that right there. Couldn't have planned it better. Now, last month, almost a month to the day, I have a license from TED to do a TEDx event. I call it TEDx Third Ward. And to close out our night at the event on the 14th, we had Mr. Matthew Knowles, Beyonce's dad, right? I asked about the next act. I didn't get, right? I don't think he would know anyway. But one of the things that he talked about when we did like a sit-down interview on the stage at Match Theater was the fact that Houston, he felt, was like lacking when it comes to arts and arts funding and arts infrastructure. Remember that, Quincy? He absolutely said it. And he was like, Houston is really, really missing out. So it's fascinating to sit here. You're from Houston. Yeah. You write on Raising Canaan. And I was thinking Raising Cane's, the chicken tender place.
That'd be a great collab.
It would be a great collab. That would be a great collab. I always think of them. But like and you don't know Jerry Madison. Like that is amazing to me because I'm not in either world. They did the Black Cinema Film Festival. It was a success. You're into this writing. It seems like, man, all the pieces are there to do some amazing things.
100%.
But the amazing things are already happening.
Yeah,
Amazing
I
things.
think the thing is also I left. Like it's like sometimes you got to get out for those things. Because again, one of the big reasons, and I think this is something that needs to be changed. One of the big reasons I wasn't interested in theater and wasn't as interested in the arts in that way when I was coming up is because there wasn't the necessary funding to be like, go wild and like make your own stuff.
And it's harder to take big chances like that on your home turf.
Right.
So like I remember my first big move, like I lived in like Austin and Dallas, that was nothing. But when I moved to Seattle and I landed in Seattle, Washington, and nobody remember the time that I threw up at the club that time and a little bit of it got on the girl's dress and then she was mad and then her boyfriend went. Nobody remember that. And then nobody remembers when ...
Yeah.
So I'm a blank canvas when I land in Seattle, Washington. And then when you say, hey, I have an idea, you now have an audience who's like, hey, it could happen, versus an audience, your auntie who saw you crawl. It's hard for them to imagine you flying. So sometimes you do have to leave. That's in the Bible too. You have to leave your home city to truly find who you are, because you're not sort of put in these boxes that everyone else puts you in.
100%, but you also carry that hometown or whatever with you.
Yes.
So like any room I go in, yes, you might not know who I am. You might not know what Hightower High School is, but I fundamentally have a different idea of society, of people, of whatever, because I'm from Houston. And most likely no one else who you're going to talk to that comes into this room is going to have that perspective.
Right.
So because I carry that with me, because I come from that, it kind of allows me to have certain opportunities because I come in with a different flavor than someone from LA or someone from Atlanta, you know?
You're sort of standing on your own. Speaking of Seattle, I remember I used the word washateria once.
Right.
And they were like, what? And I was like,
Laundromat.
washateria. And they were like, you made that up. And I was like, no. So I get on my phone. Boop, 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 boop. What do we call the place that you go? And they're like, washateria. So like there are these silos of what is the norm.
Yeah.
And anytime, growing up, I never learned how to cook. So now when the recipe calls for oregano or some other, my mom would skip it because everything is salt, pepper, and Tony Chachere. But I actually follow the thing. So I think similarly, you not having that, like, no, this is the way that we do it, allowed you to sort of get to where we are today. So tell us what's going on Friday and how did it come about?
Yeah. So on Friday, we're opening Challenge in Brown at Match Houston. It came about because of Denise again giving me that phone call and being like, we want to put this up as a main stage production, and me being like, okay. So Challenge in Brown is a new play. This is the premiere of the show. It's never had a production before this, and it takes place in 1967 in Houston, Texas, and tells the story of Gordon Brown, a fictionalized story of the first Black high school teacher to integrate an all-white high school. Yeah.
Wow. Which match?
So it's downtown.
No. Which there are four. There are four theaters.
It's Matchbox 1.
Matchbox 1. Okay.
Very intimate.
TEDx Third Ward is in Matchbox 2, so I know Match very well. And I actually office out of Match. Office out of Match. Up the stairs with the office. I got an office up there. And tell everybody don't put that out there. But no, so that is amazing. So Denise, where did this come from?
So Chris is very humble, but his work has climbed the ladder. When we did the arts festival, it was different than the play festival that we've done for the last 14 years. We did the arts festival in 2025, in which we did a lot of things. And one of the things we did was we called for full-length plays. We normally do 10-minute plays. We call for full-length plays. His was one. It went through 3 sets of reading judges. First us, and then we trickled it down and then gave those who made that initial cut to the ensemble theater. And they trickled that list down and picked 10. His was one of the 10. And then later on, after the arts festival, he did not know this, but a good friend of mine that was establishing a theater out in Virginia asked to see the lot of the 10 that were chosen by the ensemble theater, and we sent all of them to them, and they picked Challenging Brown. So heavy hitter all the way around the Virginia theater is not predominantly Black.
Mhm.
And so, we're very impressed by his life, the trajectory of his career and all of that. You just don't really know how great people are until you read their bio. I was like, this guy's a superstar. But he's been great to work with. And, Fade to Black is about elevating, taking the whole team, all culturally diverse people, all backgrounds, and unifying them so that we get on one page and elevate an African American playwright. So if you come to the play festival, the 10-minute play festival, it's a different type of program that most people have seen. They only see a full-length play and then they leave. 10-minute play festival is 10 short plays of all different subjects. So we kind of deviated from that when we did the arts festival, but we consistently put out good work. I have to take risks every year to make sure I stay on top of that and not just fall in the cracks. So he is a part of what we call our Vanguard series. And that is productions that we do that are more full length or one acts. They're not 10-minute plays, but we get funding and get behind that project, fund the premiere, and
like Houston Arts Alliance and the airport funding and all that stuff too. Are y'all connected at all?
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
good.
and we have gotten funding from them year after year after year. But we are most proud of us finally getting an endorsement from the Houston Endowment.
Wow.
So that was, I tell everyone, it was 3 years in the making for me, because I didn't understand the language. I didn't understand their motivation. And I was going to them and saying, I need this program funded, fund this program. Help me with this program. And it's like, we are so far above that. This is general operating support for you to make impact.
Yeah.
And until I got that right, it just was never clicking, and they were like, come back next year.
And it's interesting because I have a 501c3 as well, and we get a Houston Endowment funding too.
Yeah.
And I was just I believe in like just sharing whatever I know with others.
Yes.
So someone else wanted to start a nonprofit, and I was explaining to them, when you're looking at development, when you're looking at raising money for your nonprofit, I always look at it as you do not go to them and say, here's what I want to do.
Right.
You look at what their goals are and what they have aligned, and then you say, what of this can we do well and take it off of their plate?
Right. That's exactly. It's not about you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I tell people when you're writing grants, because they come and say, how do you do these grants? You get these grants. I said, you have to really understand. It's like going to someone and asking them for money to pick up lint from the floor.
Yeah.
And that lint on the floor is your baby.
Yeah.
But to them, it's lint on the floor.
It's not. Yeah.
And so I say, you must be laser focused.
Absolutely.
Why there's lint on the floor? What's the reason? What's the history? What is the impact if I pick up this lint off the floor? What am I going to need to pick up the lint off
and
the
maybe
floor?
you find, maybe it's an environmental, maybe they have an environmental institute and they're funding pollution reduction, and it's like, hey, what's pollution?
Yes.
Lint.
It's got to work for them.
There you go. It's got to work for them.
Yeah.
So that is really, really good. And is this your full-time gig? This is what you do?
Not yet. I work in real estate, commercial real estate.
Okay.
And so
I'm a hustler, baby.
Man, I
I
tell
just want you to
you,
know. Okay,
it's
that's
just,
really good.
my passion is this organization, my nonprofit organization. It's why I'm up till 2-3 o'clock in the morning.
Yes.
It's just,
I'm on a board for the Acres Homes Community Action Group. Rain Eatman out there in Acres Homes, and we had our board retreat today. When I woke up this morning and I saw 10 to 3 on my calendar, I'm like, when did I agree to this? 10 to 3. But it was really cool. We talked about like how members of the board can like really help and invest our time and our efforts and our connections into. So like, yeah, Absolutely love that. That is amazing. I would love to. We'll grab coffee or something
Yeah.
after this, and then you live in LA.
You just
Yeah.
have to go out to LA to grab coffee.
We'll
To
get,
grab
let me
the
tell
coffee,
you, I'm
yeah.
supposed to go to. I was supposed to see Duran Bernard
Okay.
before his Grammy, because now I'm probably not gonna be able
Oh
to see him.
yeah,
You know?
you can hang that up.
But he performs as DJ Broccoli or something like that. And so when I saw that the tickets were for the DJ thing, I was like, I don't want him to DJ. I want an actual show. But I came to not LA. Actually, yeah, LA. Because Pasadena's near LA, right? It's like
Yeah.
Sugarland to
Yeah, yeah.
Houston. And I'm like, oh, I get it. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm at a bar, the door is open. You can't have the door open in Houston. In the summer, right? So no,
Yeah.
that was really good. We're gonna get back to y'all, but to the far end, I don't know if y'all have ever heard of a place called Brazoria County. It's what I call one of the, no offense, forgotten counties in the greater Houston area.
It's all good. It's all good.
You know, you got Harris, the Kingdom of Harris, right?
the
and then you got-
kingdom. He said the
The
kingdom. We just
Kingdom of
evil
Harris. That's what they,
stepchild.
listen, they call it that at the Capitol. You go to the Capitol and they call it the Kingdom of Harris. And then you got Fort Bend, right?
Mhm.
And Deacon Robert Williams. You know Robert Williams?
Robert Williams is a great friend of mine.
Deacon Robert Williams, who I consider a mentor. I would consider him I mean, he's a deacon, he's not a pastor, but he's basically my pastor, because that's the most spiritual guidance that I get are those TD Jakes quotes that he puts on Facebook. I made him crack a joke. Let me tell you, his campaign managers over here, this guy's got to be a lawyer or something. I mean, he is like on
Locked
it.
in.
But we just had a primary in March
Mm-hmm.
where each of the political parties got to choose who's running for them for their respective seats. And in Brazoria County, at the top of the ticket, other than Tallarico, who has like something going on this weekend, we're not going to talk about that here. We're going to talk about that here because they get. Hey, I need an ad or something. I need to pay. No more free stuff. And Gina Hinojosa, who hey, good. Other than those two, you have the county judge.
Yes, indeed.
The county judge is to the county what the mayor is to the city, basically. And I know there are some people out there that'll be like, well, technically it's not. No, it is the presiding member of Commissioner's Court, which would be like city council. Ladies and gentlemen, to my far left, your right, the Democratic nominee for county judge in Brazoria County pulled up in a big black pretty Benz with the wheels in the back that go like that when you turn. He was pulling in and the wheels in the back was going like that. I was like, oh man. And this is one of the new ones. Y'all know I got a Benz SUV too, but mine's not brand new. Mine's not that new technology. And I think it's electric or something too.
It is electric.
It is electric. The one and only Eugene Howard. Welcome to the Black House.
Man, thank you for having me this evening, Doc.
Yes. So how did you get into all of this? How did you end up the Democratic nominee for county judge in Brazoria County?
Well, my story as far as Brazoria County goes is, I've lived in Brazoria County for a decade, or a little longer than a decade now. And a few years ago, there was a incident that happened. We were getting ready for work. My wife is a school teacher, and I was in education at that time as well. And we were getting ready for work, and a black little girl had went missing from the middle school, Rodeo Palms Middle School at the time. And this is before we really realized Uber and Lyft and all those things. So like the news just reported that she left campus, was picked up, and no one can find her. And so of course, I just had my first child, my little princess Eva. So of course now my daddy spidey senses is going. It's like, hold up, if I have a little black girl now, things that I used to skip, I'm no longer skipping. And so it took 3 days for them to do a follow-up. And then the follow-up was just so nonchalant. It was, oh yeah, the story from the other day. I mean, it wasn't paraphrased like that, but this is what it basically said. The story from the other day, girl took an Uber from the middle school to the rodeo, and then they ended up finding out. Now, the thing that really made me mad was like, well, damn, if she was blue-eyed, blonde, it'd been on the
Amber
7 o'clock,
alerts.
10 o'clock, 12
Yeah.
o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, same and rinse and repeat until we found her. But I said in this place in Brazoria County where I decided to move my family, because I'm originally from Sugarland. My family, I'm a 7th generation Texan, so my grandfather 7 generations back fought with Ulysses Grant for my freedom and
Wow.
settled in new territory, which, well, it wasn't new territory at the time, but my
Is
grandfather,
that Sugar Land?
that's he knows exactly. So
Mhm.
Okay.
my grandfather in 1877 bought 177 acres of land that so I should be a Hilton or one of these
Wow.
people, but of course this is Jim Crow, this is the
Mhm.
South, this is Sugar Land. Prior to this new diverse movement in Fort Bend, this is still the good old boys
Yeah.
back then,
Yeah.
and all we have left now is Thompson Chapel Church. So our whole land has been confiscated by new territory, and these bigots had the audacity to name the first subdivision Thompson, like that's some kind of honor.
Wow.
Like that, it pisses me off every time I drive through there. So
Wow.
when you say why I got into it, that's just the genesis, and I'll let you go from there.
Interesting story. So in Sugar Land, and you grew up in Sugar Land too. So right on Highway 90 and Highway 6, there's that railroad track, and there's that
Mhm.
Walmart over there. Well, there used to be the central unit
Mhm.
of prison, and I was a sergeant on that unit,
Mhm.
2 years out of high school.
Mhm.
And so like they have totally built up all the way around that. But to your point, recently, I want to say it was
That's 99.
99.
No,
No,
because Highway 6 and 90 is right. There's just an open
Okay.
field right there.
Okay, okay.
So when you go, trust me, I used to
Okay.
be able to see
What
the
is that?
jail. That's 99.
That's 99. And then
Parkway,
that's,
Grand Parkway.
okay, and
which
then
is
what's the other one?
99.
And then-
That's 90.
that's
So
90.
because right now they've so gutted it out to where it dips
yeah,
right now.
Yeah, I
See,
remember they
I
were
grew
building
up
that. I remember when they were
where
building
I
that.
used to be able to sit on, because my mom was a musician as well. So I
Uh-huh.
used to, back, younger,
Yeah.
I would sit in my grandma's window, and I used to see the cars driving on 90 way back
Ah,
before they built everything,
Yeah,
and they
yeah.
would look like little ants.
Yeah.
And I used to say as a kid, "Is that my mom? Is she finally coming back to the crib?"
Yeah.
So so they've changed that. So what you're talking about is 99,
90
because
and
the prison
99.
is
There we
still
go. Yeah.
it's still there.
It's still there. They just
But
just don't
now
use
you
it.
would
They
know
don't house
because
it.
they've really
Yeah.
turned it into
Because hey, the
utopia, right?
the good old boys said, hey, flag on the play. We need to build some houses around
Yeah.
it. Now here's what's interesting. A few years ago, Darrington unit, and people are familiar with Darrington, down 521,
Mhm.
and several others. They were Clemens, I forget which one in Huntsville, but you can look it up. You can Google this. They changed the names of these units because, as it turned out, when the slaves were freed, when the
Mhm.
enslaved people were freed, did you know the slave owners got a bailout? So the Darrington family was like, well, what are we going to do with all of this land? We got these fields, we got this and that. The state gave them a bailout and turned them into prisons.
Yes.
Mm.
I'm
So that
very
is
aware.
literally prison
And
land.
can I tell you something to go along with that? So
Mhm.
my family's territory was they forced them to be on the river, and the riverbed is not that far from the prison.
Right.
And so the goal was to not only to give them that bailout, but they were hoping that if they would give no infrastructure, because they thought black people were stupid, that we couldn't figure out how to keep water from flooding us,
Mhm.
that we would get flooded out. They
And then end
purposely
up having
tried to flood us
work,
or
yeah.
my family out for years.
And you were about to say something about the prison.
So there's a piece about that. So between slavery,
You can slide it over. You slide it over to him, Marco. Uh-huh.
So between slavery and I guess in between that time too, before Jim Crow,
Mm-hmm.
there was convict leasing. Have y'all heard about convict
Yeah.
leasing?
Yeah, because they still do a form of it today, but I'll yeah.
Sure. So there's a book out there called Worse Than Slavery.
Mm-hmm.
And what they did was this is going to sound familiar, they would lock people up for loitering,
Look at that.
send them to prison.
Mm-hmm.
And once they were in prison, according to the Constitution,
Mm-hmm.
you can be enslaved. You can be forced labor.
Yep.
So what they did was they would rent out people
Mm-hmm.
back to the plantation
Look at that.
to work. And,
Yeah.
and of course, the plantation owners paid a small fee to have these people, but because they didn't own them,
Yep.
they would let them sleep outside.
Absolutely.
They would hardly feed them.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they said it was worse than slavery.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because they had no stake in these people.
At
So
all.
therefore, and then just to wrap it all up, those convict leasing sites, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
became the prisons.
Wow. And what's also interesting there, so I started me and my mom when I graduated high school in 2005. So you graduated in 2017.
Yeah.
That is 12 years later. Let me tell y'all something. When you start getting gray in your beard, all the numbers just start doing other stuff. Because I'm like, how are you that young? You should be a child.
There are people younger than me.
You should be in pull-ups.
Yeah.
But no, you get older and then other people sort of fill in. But we both started at the same time as COs together. She was on unemployment. And I guess they send you a letter that's like, after X amount of weeks, you're on your own. And so we both started at the same time. And one of the things that I found fascinating, every unit, because the Texas prisons are quote unquote self-efficient. So every unit has an industry. So I started on the CT Terrell unit, which is Ramsey 3 in Rosharon, and they have a canning factory. So the folks who are incarcerated go out and they till the fields on other units. And where do they send that? They send that to the Ramsey 3 unit because they actually can it. Some goes to actual prison units so that they don't have to pay for it. Others are actually sold to the free world. When you look at the state capitol, all of those state of Texas chairs are made by people who are currently incarcerated. On Darrington, there's a tire retread thing where they retread tires. On the central unit, they used to have a soap factory. So they're still doing that to this day. And I just think it is absolutely fascinating. But to think, before they provide air, yeah, they won't even provide air. And yeah, I was on those units. They I don't know if most people know this or not, but most Texas prisons are not air conditioned. The front part, which is like you have like the lady who answers the phone.
Receiving.
You have well, the front part is like
Intake.
administration. So you got the
Yes.
warden's
Intake, yeah.
office, stuff like that. It's air conditioned. And then you have like the count room and like all of that, receiving and you know
Intake.
the intake and all that. And then you'll have like maybe like where the sergeant and lieutenant's office, well, they'll have a window unit in there. So they're kind of like not fully central air and heat, but they get a little bit of a privilege. And the rest of it is literally boiling hot. I remember as a morale booster, I went to commissary one time, and I was a lieutenant at the time on Ramsey 2, and I was like, let me get how many people we got? Let me get 50 popsicles. And I was gonna walk around and give popsicles out. I did one wing. That's like 6 cell blocks, and the rest of them were soup at that point, and not like slushy. No, like clear, right? And so a lot of people don't think about that and how many of those same echoes still exist today. What must your ancestors think? Like, you're the Democratic nominee for county judge in Brazoria County. Back then, it was really Democrat. So you would be the presumptive county judge. What is that like for you? And what was it like when you knew that you were going to win the primary?
Well, look, I knew I was going to win the primary before I got in the race. I firmly believe that no Democrat in Brazoria County at the time was ready for the fight that I was ready to put up. I've had a decade of public service, being an activist, being over the NAACP, being over criminal justice, being a Fox political news analyst. So I was willing to debate. I said, if you want to try to talk me, let's get after it. You know what I'm saying? And, run it.
Yeah.
So I was in a 3-way primary. Me, the previous Democratic nominee tried to run again, and a third party jumped in, and I whooped their ass pretty good.
Wow.
No runoff, 50% on election night. So yeah, and I got the peacock because the party at the time was not very supportive of me, because I was very much saying that I'm tired of Black people feeling like we need the code switch, feeling like we can't be our authentic selves and still be successful.
Absolutely.
And so I was like, look, if I'm going to lose, because everyone said, well, run for Congress again, because I ran for Congress in 22. And it was like, well, just run for Congress again. The judges, he's been there 12 years. It's the good old boys. And so in my county, the the last 100 years, 7 families have been running county government. No under exaggeration. For the last 100 years, 7 families just rotate. Right now in our courthouse, it's a family reunion to the point to where they can't discuss county business at Thanksgiving because it would be quorum violations. Husbands, wives, the current county judge has another brother that's a sitting criminal judge in the same courthouse. We got a husband and a wife that are judges in different courtrooms. This is rampant. We have jury tampering that took place in Missouri County. I brought that out. The second in command just was able to float up and become the new person in command. So we're dealing with a lot. And then, of course, the nation knows about what happened to John Mendoza a month or so ago with the unfortunate killing of that young man. So yeah, and just to top it off, just the cherry on top of it, Missouri County was the last place that had a black lynching in the state of Texas. So for me, as you say, what do I feel like winning the primary? I feel like I've made my grandfather proud, Primus Thompson, who said the real give me liberty or give me death. And that's why, I wear my chains. I'm not taking them off because my grandpa decided that he wasn't going to take his off. He's going to fight with them on.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what we're doing.
I wonder if they notice, and we heard this a lot with Jasmine Crockett. We heard a lot of people that would say, well, I don't know, right? You saw a lot of that, and it was like, is she qualified? Well, she was an attorney. She's a state rep. She's a member of Congress.
She couldn't be there if she wasn't.
Right.
That's the key.
That's the thing. But also, and I would take this back to Chris Black here, when he said something that I found very fascinating. He said, in LA, he brings Houston with him. Like, he brings those views into that room.
Oh.
And that becomes what's missing, right? That becomes what's different. That becomes the outlier. That becomes, you ever like take a bite into like a really good chicken sandwich and be like, is that pecan? Right? Because if you would have known it was pecan in there, you wouldn't have done it, right? And grapes, what? But it's actually good.
Right.
But how do you know unless someone from somewhere else does that? And so instead of growing a bigger tent, they said, no, we only let people in like this.
And I said to hell with that.
And you said to hell with it. They were giving you hell. I saw where, and this is before I knew you were going to come on the show. I remember seeing where it was like they had a flyer and it had everybody else's face.
And they blocked me out and said undervote. I mean, that was just the white liberal in Missouri County that was so upset because I beat their guy. I mean, no one expected me, and my campaign manager can sit here and attest. We didn't have funding. We didn't have special groups. We didn't have our party helping us.
Do you know about Tracy Gibson in Harris County?
I do know about her. I'm not going to get here.
You know, personally. I find it fascinating because we see this sort of over and over again. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. talked about the white liberal, right?
Man, yep.
And I'm a watch man. This is nothing major right here, but normally I have something on my wrist when I come out. But
What's that? Yes, sir.
But I was telling the story because this is what really sort of stood out to me. And I think it's a conversation that has to be had. I was at it was a Democratic progressive event.
Whatever, yeah.
One of these luncheons where everybody gets Jason's Deli, and they got those cold cookies in the back, right?
With the box.
And you didn't pay $75 to come in here to hear whoever. And we're sitting there and we're talking amongst ourselves. And there was a white guy who was not next to me, but one over on one of those round tables. And he's like, oh, I like what, like your watch there. And I was like, well, okay. Because it wasn't like a Rolex or nothing like that. It was a tag, right? So that's kind of something that if you see you know. And so we continue talking and he's still just like, And so finally he says, can I see it? And the way he said it, and those of y'all that were sitting at the table remember this, because it's like it went in slow motion. It was like a scene from one of your things. He says, can I see it? So I go to take it off, right? And I say, they let us read now too.
I love that.
And everybody at the table did what you did. And then he turned beet red. And he was like, oh, I didn't mean it like that. I was like, no, you did, because you said it. Now, how you thought it would land is one thing or another. We could argue that. But what you said it and it's cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's good. Like I just did what what you didn't expect. So you'll think about that next time, right?
Maybe he just likes.
And then every time I see him, every time he could be across the room, I yell his name. I almost said it the other day when I told the story, but hey, right? Because you don't get to then like move me into like the attic of your memory. No, fresh. But sometimes we have to do that, and I think it's a conversation that has to be had because we have to call a thing a thing.
Have to call a thing a thing. So recently I'm good to say, as as the good old folks will say in church, that hearts and minds have been changing. The powers that be have, maybe just realized that the train has left the station, and if we want a legitimate shot to win, always bet on black.
Stevie said, who's in the comments asked, and Deacon Williams is here. We were talking about you earlier, Deacon Williams. We had
What's up, Rob?
There's a 2-minute section
about Robert Williams.
Yeah, we'll clip it. But she wants to know, how did that undervote thing come about? Like, for them to blatantly and explicitly is one thing to, like, how they normally do, because it's usually nice, nasty. It's usually, oh, we didn't get your photo in time, so we just put. Was it something like that?
Oh no, it wasn't nice, nasty. This was just like, again, going back to, they didn't anticipate me being able to whoop their ass like I did. This was a bitter grapes. This was the guy who pushed this forward, who's a drainage commissioner now, who will not win re-election if I have anything to do about that, making that first known right here. So that's breaking news. I'm not going to give him the courtesy of mentioning his name, but you know who I'm talking about. You know who you are. He decided to take it upon himself to, I'm his mortal enemy. At the drainage commissioner's court the next day after the election, they couldn't even have a meeting, because I do have friends that are on both sides. The other two Republican drainage commissioners called me. It's like, Eugene, do you know that this in particular commissioner could not stop talking about you? That he says he has to do anything and everything to stop you, that you can't be the nominee, and it's a personal vendetta against you for him. So when you say why that come about, he took it upon himself, which forced the party to have to cease and desist him, which forced them to say, stop. He is the top of our ticket. Whether you like me or not, you brought up, look, all the negative stuff about Eugene Howard was out during the primary. Hell, he made sure of it. And guess what? I still whipped his ass. So when you go back to it, that's what it's about. And he knows it. And again, I don't want to necessarily say the whole party was it, because I've had some very great allies, mostly that look like us, but great allies in the party that have come around. And so, he's nowhere now.
And I would say this too, when you say allies, we got to get beyond this, like, nah, I support you, but I can't.
No. When I say allies, I mean these people that spoke up. I mean candidates, people within the party. Robert Williams, you asked Mr. Williams, he's one of the most vocal that said this shit got to stop. Excuse me, but he just said it got to stop.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you cussed like 4 times before that.
Yeah, I just called it about the 5th time.
You want to be Deacon since Deacon in the room. This nigga been cussing all day. It's been an hour worth of cussing. But that is fascinating though. Like, I wonder, and I sit back and I wonder. So people say, and they say this every 2 to 4 years, oh, this is the chance to flip Texas blue. Oh, this is the statewide candidate that's going to do it. Do they not see what happens to the enthusiasm when we see what happens to a Jasmine Crockett, a Tracy Gibson, and you know what? And Tracy Gibson, Chairwoman Gibson, so like God knows who to choose, because I would have been salty.
I need
your badges and your keys. Everybody, leave your keys on the way out. Leave your keys and your badge. But no, she's been very open. But do they not see that that's going to turn people off from either wanting to be part of it at all, right? People just sit at home, because a lot of the times you look at the ballot and it's the same people in the one team that you were rooting for. And you wonder why people not buying tickets to the game. They're not buying concessions, right? And you think you're just going to say, come to the football game. No, change the roster, make it open. Can the band play some new music?
Thank you.
Right? If everything is stars and stripes forever, and hey, and not the good hay, not necking
not
hay.
Hey,
Right? Not but hey. Hey, baby.
Oh, yeah, I know that. That Austin High
Right.
School. You understand that Austin High School?
Yeah.
Right?
Heel toe to the
Heel
girl.
toe. Heel toe. You're doing heel toe and wonder why we can't sell tickets. Right?
Yes.
And so that's the thing. And it's happening with these political parties too, because people will just stay home. You want, and we see it with churches too, right? Deacon, not Williams, Deacon Ford always got to have the keys.
Oh yeah.
And he don't let nobody in. And them kids didn't had enough soda. And the fellowship call closed at 8. Like, look, we'll just stay home, right? And now you're not getting tithes. I'd like to cut off, and it's leaking in here, right? So I think that becomes a thing, and they have to look at that. They have to look at that statewide. They have to look at that nationally, because it's a trend. It's happening everywhere. I didn't even know it was this much of this. Yo, I thought Fort Bend had it. I think Brazoria might have it done. You know another Brazorian that I like?
Who's that?
Adrian Bell.
Oh, Adrian, yeah. So just so you know, I had deemed this new slate of candidates the Avengers. I'm calling us the Missouri County Avengers. It's really taking off. And so Adrian's one of those Avengers. And again, we're avenging all this BS that we're dealing with be 47 and Hot Wheels. So, you know, we're really coming at, you know, after that Thanos snap.
I saw the like comic book style.
Yeah, our team put that together.
Yeah, I saw that. So
Was it dope? Was it?
It
all right?
was.
Okay.
It was dope, and I think that's more some of the stuff that we need. It's out of the box. It is.
So that was a Eugene Howard's campaign special.
There you
know,
go.
and again, bringing new life, new energy.
And you got a good name.
Well, I
I've been
appreciate
telling
that.
people. Let me tell you something. Eugene Howard. They got a name. They got a building named after him in the medical center. Doesn't that sound like something? Eugene Howard sounds like an author.
Man, no.
Eugene
No
Howard
lips to God's ears.
sounds like, right?
Sounds like
And I
somebody
tell people,
important.
Yeah, well, we had Judge Brittany Morris on the other day, right? And she won. Your name is Brittany. Everybody knows a Brittany. White or black? Britney Spears, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Brittany who do hair. Brittany who went to Prairie View. She was a Black Fox, right? Everybody knows a Brittany. So you're looking and you're like, for lack of knowing one candidate over the other, that really does make a difference. And so
My name, just so you know, during the primary, several people reached out to me afterwards. It's like, I didn't know who you were, but when I saw Eugene Howard, I knew that was a black name. I knew you had to be a brother.
there you go.
It ain't too many white
There you
Eugenes
go.
or the.
There
I
you
mean, that
go.
was a tell giveaway.
Right,
And
there
you
you
when
go.
you say with a name,
Mhm.
it's like, oh, that got to be a brother.
That's gotta be. And so
One of the core, I mean, beat the drum on is we got to make sure that people know his name.
if people know his name, and then if they hear him, that will sort of drum up the enthusiasm. Because when I think of county judge candidate, right?
Mhm.
Until Letitia Warren, I mean, we got Dexter McCoy. It's the Essence Festival.
It
Right?
is. It could
It's the
literally be the
Essence
X's
Festival
down here
around here.
in southeastern
It's the-
Texas. We can have the trifecta
Right.
for real.
There you go. And it is so exciting to see. And you know, because for so long when you heard of county judge, this was a white guy.
Emmett,
What?
no, I ain't gonna say that.
Ed
what was
Emmett-
it?
you were about to
Ed
call him
Emmett.
Emmett Till?
That's why I had to catch myself. I said, no, he ain't that guy. He ain't that
Freudian
guy.
slip.
Yeah.
But no, like that becomes part of it. Like people, no one knew who the county judge. Look at the county attorney, right? We have Christian Menifee. Nobody knew what that person did before
Mm-mm.
him. He got in there. He was cool with it, and he was like this out of the box politician. We did a thing in Acres Homes. Rain Eatman runs the Acres Homes Community Action Group, and then my org, we did what we call Race to the Polls. It was a way to get young people excited about voting. So we bought like, I don't know, 10 Nintendo Switches, I think they're called.
Yeah.
And so they played Mario Kart and we had a tournament. And then it was like the people that made it to the finals got to keep theirs. And so we invited Christian Menifee at the time. He was county attorney. We invited him to, you know, come say a few words. He wanted to play. Not only did he play, he was beating these kids' asses. He was winning. And I'm like, you're not supposed to win.
Man, look, man, nah. I
He's
feel
like,
Christian
nah.
on that.
I'm
you
like,
get out there,
man,
you go
can
get
your
it.
own Nintendo.
Man, you get
Switch.
after, you gotta get it,
And
man.
they
Run it.
liked it too. And that's the difference because everybody else would have done the same thing. They either wouldn't have played
No.
or they would have done the whole,
Oh,
you're so
she
good
got
at that.
shots.
Right. And it's just like nobody wants to do that. And so so you're running this campaign. What cities or towns are there in Brazoria County? I hear
So Pearland,
okay.
Manville, Iowa Colony, Angleton, Sweeney, Clute, Dansbury, Brazoria,
Mhm.
Alvin, Freeport, Lake Jackson,
Okay. There is a huge
Surfside Beach.
okay. I didn't even think of Surfside.
So one thing about Brazoria County, one of the things I say is no matter what type of life you want to live in America, Brazoria County has it. If you want beachfront, we got that. If you want industrial, we have that. If you want rural, we have a bunch of that. And if you want urban, we have that as well. So this is the one spot in Texas that has everything you want in one place. Unfortunately, it's like the hidden gem.
Yeah.
It's the evil stepchild of the greater Houston area. They always leave us
but
out.
let me tell you, our cousins
But
are
it's
moving
dope.
out there to Iowa Colony, Manville. I think my dad lives out there.
Yeah,
My dad lives in
well,
one-
of course, you know I have to live out there. I'm
Yeah.
a county
No,
judge.
I'm saying black folks are moving.
Oh no, it is the new Missouri
to-
city. For
yeah.
here, understand that it's the new Mo city.
Manville, Iowa Colony. You're seeing that more and more.
80%
Wow.
us. City council looks like I always
I
call
saw
it the
that.
Wakanda of
I saw
Missouri
that, and
County.
actually, one of their council members is going to be on here.
Arnetta.
Arnetta,
Marquardt.
yes,
See,
yes,
look, I guessed it.
See,
I knew.
small world. Well, and you would know it because you're the county judge candidate. But I think as those things happen, and as they're forced to sort of adjust, right? Because guess what? One of these seasons, that band director gonna write neck into the thing, and they gonna be wait a minute, are they doing something different with the band?
Oh,
Like,
it's
what's going
coming.
on?
Oh,
Right?
it's coming.
It's going to happen slowly but surely. And I hope that when it does, those people that are, it's almost like you're appointed. Like you don't realize it, but like the same way that like we get a new president and then they choose like who's going to be the secretary of this and this and that, and they go before the Senate and then they get like appointed and then confirmed, right?
Confirmations.
They get confirmed. Little do you know, your roles in your respective fields are necessary and are opening doors. I won't even say for the next generation, you're opening the doors for yourself as well, but it's like a necessary part.
So kind of what I so appreciate. So again, I went to Hightower 03 is when I came out. So just so I'm like, when you said 17, I'm like, Jesus.
Yeah, man, I'm 05. I'm like,
God,
man,
dog, 05. Well, so but going back to that, like when you said you didn't go to school for this, like I didn't go to school for political science or no, I was a band head. Music education is where I went to school for, and then business and University of Phoenix after that. So it was just like this wasn't what I sought out. But a lot of my friends, a lot of my spiritual mentors and advisors have said God raised this moment for me, or me for this moment, and because I am uniquely positioned to shock the world, to be a young Cassius Clay and knock Sonny Liston out. You know, right now I feel like I kind of use the analogy. We're in round 4 of that first fight when he took him out in 7.
Yeah.
So as long as no fumbles, high and tight, 3 yards, go down, no fumbles, we should be tight, ready to rock and roll. So and you said when you're not seeking something, that's how you know you're supposed to be there. I can say my only political advisor has been the Holy Spirit in that part.
Wow.
He has paved the way. I'm a man of faith, and so he has paved the way, and I'm just kind of following the greatest mind ever assembled. So that's kind of the analogy I like to use, and I want to use that to be a tree of life for our community. Missouri County is a majority minority county for the first time over the last 2 years. Since we're majority minority, we don't reflect that in leadership. Well, that is about to change.
Well, and I've had the opportunity to live in other states. I do think Houston, the greater Houston area and Texas in general, is like a unique case. To see political organizing in Seattle, Washington, where the unions and the organizations are all in sync, and I use progressive, but I use that lightly because it don't mean what I used to think that it meant. And then to go to Detroit, which is a beautiful experience. Everybody's black.
Man, I didn't realize that till I went to Detroit too. And how close Detroit is to Canada.
Yeah. Well, you'll accidentally go to Canada. One of my friend Patrick was up there visiting, and he wanted to go to one of the art stores to get some art, some paint and stuff, and we put it into Google Maps,
And it's and sent
and it
you
sent
under
us-
to Canada.
yeah, and we didn't
to the top,
recognize it
yeah.
until we were on the bridge.
And
the-
it says the signs. I was like, oh
Yeah.
God, I don't have no passport.
that's what I was saying.
I
Well,
was like,
because
turn around before they
Yeah,
do,
well,
before they do
right.
something.
well, and it's like a two-way. So then like the border patrol is behind us, and my heart is beating.
Look, we the same because I'm like, if we get out this line and they gonna
That's
think
what I'm
we was
saying.
I'm
They gonna
like,
think
oh
there's some
my
stuff.
God.
And then here's what's crazy, because see, I'm a hustler, so like I buy flip cars. So the car that I was driving had Kentucky plates.
Oh Jesus! Oh yeah, you all the
Okay,
way wrong.
So the car has Kentucky plates. I'm now living in Detroit, but I still had my Seattle, Washington driver's license,
Oh,
right? And then there's Houston in there too somewhere because I just moved from Houston. So I'm just like, this is just not gonna look good. This is not gonna look good. So they pull us over, and I'm like, hey, and they're like, oh, it happens all the time, and they stop traffic and let us turn back.
and
on.
that's exactly what they did.
But
to
what
us.
was
I so
fascinating
scared.
though, you can accidentally get into Canada, but coming back, that was like dun, 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 dun. It was like, oh, the gate to get back into America is like a thing.
It's a whole different
Yeah,
thing.
it's like, wow, they had us to step out, they popped the hood. I'm thinking like, man, when the last
Well,
time
so look,
I've done
so
that?
the good thing about it was when we went that the line was pretty backed up.
Okay.
So as soon as, because I'm being black,
Yeah.
we don't know where we are.
Head on
So
a
we
swivel.
so what's going on? And then I said, yo, that's Canada. And everyone was cars. No, it's not. I said, dog, look at the sign.
Yeah.
And they said, I said, man, no. I said, I ain't got no passport.
Yeah.
I said, matter of fact, my ID back at the room in my luggage. So
Yeah.
we were just supposed to be going to go to get some chicken.
right.
You know what I'm saying? This was supposed to be a run, not
Yes.
leaving the country.
That's a
So
play, that's
so
a
we
play.
was able to kind
Look
of
at you.
but the cop did not. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. Oh,
Yeah.
he did. Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Yeah.
And then we rolled. He was like, "Look, man, we here for the NAACP
Yeah.
convention. We didn't know that Canada was right there." He's
And
like,
yeah, you could accidentally, like, it's like a normal
"Man,
like exit. You just, and the next thing you know,
you there?
you're just kind
Ooh,
of
it's
there.
tight on you, boy. I was."
But what was cool was when I finally did get my Detroit driver's license. You go to and they call it the Secretary of State instead of the DMV, but you're in line. Everybody back there is black. They playing Luther Vandross over the. I'm just
beautiful.
like, wow, like to live in a place where you don't need a black restaurant week because all the restaurants are black. Like there's this little, because being from Houston, there's a strong black community here, but we kind of silo and we kind of like create like this separate world where everybody goes to Wheeler or everybody blah blah blah.
Fountain of Praise,
Fountain of Praise, right? And then
your most
you
city,
know,
your third,
top ladies of
silos.
distinction, you know, you
Mhm.
divide that. Like, and that's kind of how you doing. It's very cliquish here.
Oh yes,
But there, and I had to learn the difference between Southern hospitality, which is like asking how you doing but not really giving a damn, versus there, they have a hard shell, but once you get in, you're in.
Mm.
Like you have to earn it, and then you're good. So like that was, but I bring that up because I was recruited to run for office up there, and seeing the way that they organize, they have what's called the Black Slate. That's who got Coleman Young elected as the first black mayor, and there's a lady. Her name is Nalaja, and she runs this thing, and it is old school. All the poll pushers have to go to this training. She has a number 2 pencil and a yellow legal pad, and everything is paperwork. And I'm like, we could put some of it. Hey, no, this is the way we do it. But at the voting polls, people cared and trusted that slate card. Like that is what they looked for. They looked for somebody in an apron, and the people were aprons. Like that's just one of the things. How can we replicate that? And how can we build? I do think that trust is missing. It can't just be vote blue no matter who,
yeah.
because look at some of the people who get in there with that. So like, no, that's not enough, and we got to stop this POC stuff. I'm tired of
Purses of color. So let me guess. Like, I already know what you was getting at. All I'm saying is when you look at, to answer your question, the further you get away from the civil rights movement, is closer you getting into what you're deeming this progressive movement, which does not benefit us.
It doesn't.
And what happens is those patriarchs and matriarchs of our community who were coming of age in the civil rights, who
Mhm.
understood Dr. King, the back of the
Yes.
bus, segregation, and they are blue no matter who, because there's like, because we understand these white devils.
Mhm.
If we ever let
Mhm.
them get back
Mhm.
power, well, guess what? I am 42 years old. I was, so like in my generation, we were the first ones to not have to worry about segregated buses. So
Right.
to us, what did the civil rights movement do for now? Of course, us who have intellect and understand history,
Mhm.
understand what it does, but we know America's dumb as hell right now. And so a lot of people aren't intellectually
And that's about design.
coherent, of course,
Yeah.
to
About design.
understand why it's still important, why they rolling back these privileges that our people earned with blood.
Right.
Not
Right.
they didn't give us anything, we earned it with blood. I think that's why we're seeing the problem, and just the vote against Donald Trump or vote blue no matter who won't work for black people, because even though we aren't in the civil rights movement, we still have that same defiant blood in us.
Right.
And we say, well, damn, we've been going through 400 years of this.
Yeah,
What is 4 or 8 years of Trump gonna
Yeah.
really do to us?
Yeah.
And so we have to, and the Democratic Party better really wake up. And
Yeah.
and if you think that, after what happened to Jasmine, whether you liked it or not, that black people are going to be as energized to turn out for Tallarico when he hasn't made the efforts to reach us, man, come on now.
Well,
Ask Jesse
he's
Jackson
hosting
and
a
Wendell.
town hall. He's hosting a town hall at the Kingdom Building Center on Saturday. That's not.
Can I ask a question? Yeah, I understand the town hall, but where's the black investment? Where's the black media investment from the Tallarico campaign? Why he's
Where's
not
the
on
black
Roland Martin?
staff?
Why hasn't he
Where's the black
contacted
staff?
my
Absolutely.
campaign or Dexter's or Letitia's or any of these black slated candidates? Because
Absolutely.
you can't win in Texas without the black
And you
Texas
can't.
vote.
And
Period.
You can't come to Third Ward, Texas, and go
For 5
to
minutes.
Mickey Soul Food Cafe and then talk to Jolanda or Smokey or Christian and not understanding like we're stupid. Like we're just like, we know nobody brought you here. Like we're like, well, wait a minute. You're doing this camera opportunity. It's better than if you did nothing, right? Now, what would really show some skin in the game, like you said, to work with you, because who knows Brazoria County better than the Democratic Brazoria County, than the Democratic nominee at the top of the ticket? Who would know Harris County better than these people? And instead of trying to reinvent the wheel, instead of trying to have your staff to reach out to the very same people that are already organized and connected, you could demonstrate some real skin in the game and some real like organizing nuance and knowledge and fold in and trust the process. Because if not, I think that's one of the big things. I think when people, for the first time, and I saw this when I was living in Seattle, when Trump won, I didn't want Trump to win either. But then I was looking at my white counterparts and I was like, oh, this is y'all's first time being disappointed. Like really disappointed, like scared, right? And I'm like, oh, so you don't know what it's like to do ramen noodles and
They don't feel like.
And so
They
you
don't
never
feel like. They didn't understand it.
you ain't never had to just, hold your tongue at the job so that you could.
Or come home, the lights off, and you
Come
just
to-
like, dang, gotta tell the kids, oh man,
Oh.
we having a make believe night tonight. We
So
gonna do a
then,
camping
so
trip.
then when it's like, everybody listen up, there's oppression. See, y'all gonna get me in trouble. Y'all get me in trouble. But no, now you're sitting there and we sitting back like,
Really?
I didn't recognize any difference. This is the fever pitch that we've been operating at. We've been operating at fight or flight
For 400 years.
for
Doc.
400 years. So this is what it looks like when somebody, right? When the teacher's pet gets written up and can't take it. I got a detention. It's like, no, this is what happens when you're late. It's what happens when you, right? And so until they're ready to have that conversation, and I look at it like this. I got a bunch of the texts and I see people online that are like, hey, we have to show ourselves. I don't have to do shit, but stay black and die. Okay.
Yes.
So
Only thing I can do.
when I think about what I want to do on my Saturday, right? I want to reflect on Fade to Black and what was it again? What's the name of the play?
Challenging Brown.
Challenging Brown. That's what I want to do on Saturday. Or maybe I'll do a kickback, right? Or maybe I'll go to the dispensary and get some seltzers. But you know what I'm really not looking forward to doing? Placating, right? And educating people who should pay in money, in time, and genuine effort. They should pay for that. Because I don't do shit for free, right? You think how many more times do we have to give the Black history lesson?
Hmm.
How many more times? Then they want Jasmine to work. Now they cracking the whip on Jasmine.
Why wasn't she at convention?
Why
Now,
wasn't she
so
at the
now I was
convention?
there. So I want you to say, Tallarico, for what it's worth, spoke to us, the Texas Black Caucus, for all of 3 minutes, and Hinojosa didn't even show up.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm like, you know what? How we say it in the Black community, you like it, I love it.
Mm.
You like it, I love it. You want to do a light touch and rent some space at the Kingdom Builder Center. They better, and let me tell you something, because they're gonna hire some people, right? That's what they do. They come to us at the last minute. They're gonna hire some field people. They're gonna be diverse. Let me tell you something. You call somebody who has worked on campaigns, and you make sure that you're being paid fairly, right? And don't let them turn you into the face of the thing. When are we going to get tired of? Aren't y'all tired of being on posters for organizations that you have no control over?
Mm.
Aren't you tired of being the selected token, right? So let's really just sit back and look at it. When Jasmine first, when Tyler, I was like, hey, my issue was with the supporters, because they were really, it's like talking about your mama, right?
Mhm.
Some things you never come back from. So it's like, okay, now I'm gonna go on the ballot and I'm gonna do the thing, but it will never be at that same level
Fever
of
pitch,
right
at all.
It'll
It's
never
a
be there.
responsibility vote versus
Right.
an enthusiastic vote.
And then I think we also have to look at. I was looking today. Where are the Black consulting firms? Because here's the thing.
I mean, we have them out there.
But until we start saying, because let me tell you what I've started saying. I said I don't do shit for free, right? So gone are the days of pick my brain. Gone are the now you can pick my brain if we are like partners in this thing and I want you to win and like there's this shared thing, but you cannot helicopter in and be like, so where should I go? I don't know. Go to Mickey's Soul Food Cafe. Figure it out. I hear the oxtails are good, but you have to call first and make sure they have them that day, right? I don't know. I hear Black people like Popeyes. Go to Popeyes, right? That's what you get. Because they don't do that when they go to other communities and they actually fight for their vote. And then I would say, do they not see the opportunity that they have right now? You got Eugene, Letitia, Dexter. This could have been, and oh my gosh.
If Jasmine could, I know.
If Jasmine could have, and then you look at the turnout, and I mean, there are the people, and instead, I know they're coming to your inbox, they're coming to mine. You're just so negative. You're just sowing division. No, I'm calling a thing a thing. Because I'm going on 40, and I don't have to pretend anymore. Right? I don't have to pretend anymore. So I think Brazoria County is changing.
It's a new day. It's one of the things I say. It's a new day in Brazoria County. It's a new day.
What can folks do to help you in your campaign?
Every dollar matters. My opponent has been endorsed and supported by Governor Greg Hot Wheels. And so anything that could get our message out, get our platform out. It's also follow me on social media, Visionary Howard, Eugene Howard is my name, and just give encouraging words. And the thing that you can do most for me is make sure you're registered if you live in Brazoria County before October 5th. Because in the state of Texas, you have to be registered 30 days prior to any election. So that's what I would like to think about and say.
Like there are enough voters. There are actually enough Democratic voters in Brazoria County.
So can I jump in real quick?
Yes.
And also your prayers are always, the men of faith, your prayers are always welcomed and wanted and needed. Well, what's so unique about my race this year is it's still another three-way race. So right now you have Eugene Howard, the Democratic nominee. You have Rob Gasecki, who's a MAGA Republican, and then you have this lady named Lucinda Henry, who's an insurrectionist. So I call her Insurrectionist Betty. So politics is a very zero-sum game.
Yes.
The three options for the next 4 years in Brazoria County is me, him, her. That's what it's going to be. So if you're tired of ICE shooting us down, if you're tired of police profiling us, if you're tired of this egregious, listen, in the last 10 years, Missouri County has foregone $2 billion in tax incentives, which means we've given these companies $2 billion tax breaks that could be going towards our infrastructure, our schooling, and we're not ready for the next storm. So
Yes.
how you can help us is by getting involved and making sure that you get the word out. It's Eugene, MAGA, or insurrection. Eugene, MAGA, or insurrection.
There you go. There you go. I would be remiss if I did not bring up the fact, you just brought it up a little bit too. Lorenzo Salgado Araujo was a 52-year-old Mexican immigrant that was fatally shot and killed by ICE. Now, that's not just where the story ends, because that is messed up. Oh, you said what now?
Hunted.
They hunted and are continuing to hunt.
Yes.
And what is really disappointing to me, and going back to the idea of the white progressive, you have Mayor John Whitmire, who has a D next to his name. Now, Darrell said this. Chris didn't say this, right? They didn't say this, right? You have John Whitmire, who has a D next to his name, but has the privilege to be able to say, and not even the political acumen to like dance around it. Don't you ever have somebody lie to you and it's just a flat out lie? And it's like, could you leave the room and come back with something better?
Again, like, come on, man.
At least it's respect my intelligence, right? My intellect. So he's like, well, we don't control federal resources and we're not in it, basically. And I'll be wondering to myself, and I wonder with Lena Hidalgo, but she's not running for re-election, so we're gonna leave her alone for now. But sometimes these people put this stuff out, and I've been a staffer, and I'm like, I know ain't nobody wrote this for you. I know ain't nobody proofread. I know this is not an intern. This is somebody who is 2 Hennessy shots in with their phone in their hands, just going. And you know he'd be at the D bar or what you call it, John Whitmire, and he considers himself a Democrat. So if it's blue, no matter who, and ideally we do not reelect this mayor next year, what do these people have to do? You ever sit back and wonder? Like there are these Trump supporters, and it's like, what does he have to do?
What does he can do?
What does John Whitmire at this point? Is Shay asked 40? Yes, I turned 40 in September. Okay, September 20th, I will be 40 years old. I used to run from it, but I actually like it. I think, let me tell you something, Shay, because Shay's somewhere around 30. 40 is where it's at.
I'm 42. I
can tell you, 2017 graduate. Let me tell you, I was scared of 30 because you're not 30 yet. You're 27, right?
27.
You're 27. You scared of 30?
No,
You're not.
No.
Okay. I was scared of 30. I was like, man, when I turned 30.
Well, see, we grew up in an era where 40, when I was a kid, was like the old woman in church with the rolls in the head. Like you moved old.
Yeah.
And they used to be like, oh, I'm old and I'm 40. And I'm like, in this body, I'm like, damn, like I feel like I'm normal. Like, why are you old folks? But you know.
Yeah. I would argue that like every year after 30, y'all are both over 30.
I'm 42.
Okay.
He's older than me.
You never know. You never know. But every year after 30, it's almost like you ever, because these are prescribed, by the way, and people have made fun of me. You know, people have made fun of me wearing glasses everywhere. They don't know I have a disability. So you're actually being ableist, right? These are prescribed, right? But you ever go like a while without glasses? Like I remember, I think it was like from the 3rd to 5th grade, things were a little rough around the house, and I didn't get my prescription renewed. I lost the glasses, and Mom was like, "You lose them again," you know. And then I did, and then I didn't get glasses, right? But when you go back and they do the whole thing, you get your examination, and then you show up that day, and then they put them on, and you're like, "Wow!" Right? That's what turning 30 is like. I would say 35. 35 for me was like that. And every year you get a new, better pair of glasses. And you not only see outside, but you see inside.
Yeah.
So you're able to make decisions very easily. Like, you're not going on Saturday to celebrate Christine? No. I would rather throw some meat on a pit. I would rather clean my baseboards. I would rather do a clean cycle on my oven. I would rather go to my mom's house and help her organize her closet. I would rather go to the outlet mall with my Aunt Joanna. I would rather ... Many things come before going to an event where you're going to be placated to, right? They're coming up with the talking points now. They're not going to give you any decision making. They're not going to, you think they're going to reallocate resources? You think they're gonna say, take 100,000 and let's hire some organizers to help organize in Harris County? No, they're gonna tell you what you want to hear, and they're not gonna do anything differently. And that's the stuff that we have to grow out of.
So listen, it's people, as the old saying goes, you put your money where your mouth is.
Yes.
And you can placate to us a lot. I'm going to go back to what the great Dr. King says. We just want America and these white liberals to be true to what y'all said on paper.
Yes.
Like, if you say you really want to be our ally, if you really want to support the cause, that's money, time, and equity, blood, sweat equity. Because again, the only time change has happened in America has been with black blood.
Yes.
And then after that, there's always the backlash, recoil,
Mm-hmm.
Civil War, Reconstruction,
Yes.
Jim Crow,
Yep. Yep.
civil rights,
Yep.
Reagan, war on drugs. Well,
Mhm.
Nixon, sorry, war on drugs, which was basically a war on black and brown people. And now look where we are now. We get Obama, and what is white America's response?
Yeah.
Trump.
Let me tell you what really got me. This is what really got me. And this is what really made me go sit my ass down somewhere. After when Trump happened and they were in the streets, and I really thought, I remember looking at when
Talking about the No Kings protest thing?
not even that. Now that's a whole different
Oh,
story. We
yeah.
need a whole episode on that. And why we're not there either, right? And they wonder, they're like, why aren't there? It's all in the, it'll come out in a wash. But when Trump lost, right, all of a sudden they went back to brunch.
Yep.
They went back to brunch and they were like, oh, justice.
What do you mean?
That was back then.
Voting Rights Act, we need to pass. What do you mean?
Just calm down. Just be patient.
Just
right?
we got it.
And that's when I was taking names.
And that's the Biden administration that did that.
There you go.
Straight up. And that's the demo.
There you
And
go.
I have no problem criticizing that.
And they did, oh my gosh, him deciding so late not to run. The people who watched, y'all, we were we were hosting a debate watch party of the Trump and Biden debate. First of all, I thought that was weird because I was like, why are we having a debate? And the conventions hadn't even happened yet, right? Like, when did they do that? And then,
well, Trump was goading them, and
Yeah.
Sleepy Joe felt like, well, I could just
do it.
roll out
And
there.
he got out there, and so we had a photographer there.
Oh my
So I'm looking
God.
through the picture,
That was one of the worst.
and
nights.
there's a picture of me in the background, like I just couldn't believe. Like, oh my God, how long was I like that day? But I was just like, okay, y'all, like, clearly the emperor wears no clothes. Somebody needs to be having a meeting, right? Every now and then somebody needs to pull grandpa to the side and be like, okay,
It's tight on you.
we
Listen.
taking your keys.
Yes.
Okay. You can't keep doing you can keep doing this. Somebody has to do it. Somebody has to tell grandma, you're moving in with Ethel. This is it. We can't keep coming over here. You keep falling. No. Somebody needed to say, hey, how do you want to do it? We could do it on your terms, right? Like, do you want to announce? Do you want to, how you want to do it? But no, they sat back and they let it happen. And then what they do, like a hot potato, they tossed it to the black woman. Here, go, Kamala. You got 100 and some days. Go win this, right? And so that's
she
what
came damn close too.
she I don't think she came close, but she
For
did her
100
thing.
days, Doc.
For $100.
I
I'll give
mean,
you that.
I'm
But she
giving
coulda-
your
but she could have
context.
slammed it. She could have slam dunked it. And then what's his name? Shay says, and it's on a Sunday.
Yeah.
You doing a black
Right after church, right?
after church.
Because I got to go to church that morning.
and you
services.
gotta go to church, and we ain't coming to that. Now, if you had a Frankie Beverly and Mays tribute concert,
But they
karaoke,
still wouldn't do that on
Not
Sunday.
on a
That's
Sunday,
Saturday night
because
thing.
black people work on Monday, right? We ain't coming to your thing, and you don't have the right people that are part of it. Don't you see? You need a surrogate. You can't just come into our community. You walk in my aunt Tanya's house and start fixing a plate and ain't spoke to nobody, and nobody know who you came with. Hey, who is this?
Who's
No,
you? Who's
who is
you?
you? You gotta.
Who's you?
Right?
Who
Like,
is
first
you?
of all,
Like,
you dig into that macaroni and cheese very
Say,
healthily.
find out who you all up in
Right,
here
who
with.
you with? You gotta do that. So you need a Jolanda, right? You need a Christian, right? You need to say, hey, right? Not that we follow everything they say, but it gives you some covering because you're just showing up. You're not even doing it right.
And
That
listen,
cranberry sauce don't go in that. That goes in the dressing.
and black people ain't for the food. Like
We're
we
not.
know, we understand. And again, the Democratic Party has taken us for granted because we've always done the responsible thing with
Right.
our vote. With that being said, it's like, well, damn, we've given you our votes. Joe Biden, you told us you would get the Voting Rights Act
Right.
passed. We wouldn't be in this predicament now
Yeah.
if you got that
There
legislation
you go.
passed. You didn't.
Yeah.
You supposed to get the Civil Rights Act passed, well, not passed, but the amendments, the George Floyd Criminal
Yes.
Justice Act passed. None of that happened.
And it didn't happen. And
And then you placated us and told us, well, we have to. Well, you didn't do that for the other communities when you got the
Absolutely.
Asian hate bill, even though that
Absolutely.
encompassed every form of hate, but you titled it
right.
the Asian hate bill.
Right.
While that same community were the ones who went to court to say that black people are taking our spots in Harvard and all these other places,
There you go.
and now just come out in the wash that, hey, these white folks just didn't want y'all, and they let y'all be the
Well, no,
avatar to
absolutely.
get rid of the work that our ancestors and predecessors did.
Absolutely. And really quick story time. I remember I was working for the prison system when Hurricane Rita hit. And they actually had me working in that soap factory.
Was that 06 around that?
That was like
607.
well, it would have been the one after that because whichever one was because Rita and Katrina were near each other.
Right.
What
Katrina
was after that?
Katrina was 05.
Which one was like 08?
That's Rita.
That okay, so Rita. So it was Hurricane Rita. And they have me as the sergeant that's over the incarcerated folks that they brought in from the trustee camp.
Mhm.
So when there's a hurricane, all the parolees have to report, and they put them at the trustee camp in their free world clothes and everything. And then they took the trustees and made them lay in cots, probably the way it looked on Amistad, right? In the soap factory.
Jesus.
Okay. And I'll never forget, they had 2 pissers, 2 shitters. Okay. That's 2 urinals, 2 toilets for those of you that don't know. But you had 171 men, right? So day 1, it's cool. They refilling the ice coolers, the igloos, everything's working. By like day 4, we were down to 1 pisser, 1 shitter, right? And they're not bringing the water like they were a few days before. But they would wait till I got there because I was one of the staff people that were like responsive, and I would do what I could, right? So whenever they, I would call and be like, hey, they got this going on. Another one of the toilets stopped up, blah, 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 blah. Then the night happened. Because I was working overnight. They had a generator connected to like these Christmas lights going across the top for lights. And I remember somebody coming up to me and being like, Sarge, it's about to go down. This is like 1 something in the morning, right? So I get on my radio and I just call for the other officers to come up because whatever's about to happen, we need to kind of be together. All of a sudden it goes pitch black. And all of the inmates are now leaving the soap factory. They're still in the perimeter fence, but they're leaving. And at the time, I'm like 22, 23 years old. And I looked at it personally, like, why would they do this to me? But eventually the warden came and blah, blah, blah. And it was a big to-do. And he pulled a couple of the guys to the side and they explained everything. Sometimes you have to pull the plug on the generator to show the warden and everybody else that you're not going to play nice anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And sure, you may get written up and they may punish you a little bit, but how much is your freedom, your respect, your political acumen worth? Because you set the price. So if all it takes is a fish fry, right?
So you gonna ever
And
get
and the occasional, proclamation at your auntie's funeral. If all it takes is an invitation to the party, the county party Christmas party, if all it takes is to be acknowledged from some stage, then that is what we will always get. And next time, when they're doing their planning and they're deciding who does what, right? You will get what you've always gotten, and you will bring what you've always gotten. That was a word. This flew by. Terrence TK says, thanks, Darrell, for helping us promote the show. See you Friday. Wanted to drop this link. He's dropping the link. I would love to do like some more stuff with this leading up to then. We can connect after that. And for you as well. In closing, wow, what an honor to meet you. And you're so
Appreciate it.
humble. So humble. You know, when you're from Texas, you say humble because of the city, but it's actually humble. Humble. Pronounce the H, y'all. Yeah, let me tell you something. God knows who to give it to, because let me be a writer on Raising Canaan. Okay, I would have a shirt. I would have came in here with some Raising Canaan
Paraphernalia, huh?
merchandise, right? I would have led with that.
And you know, and 50 live here too, which is so ironic.
He does. I don't
You got
know.
a house here.
He
Yeah.
has a house here, yeah, and he's in Lake Charles too. I think Shreveport is where,
Shreveport, yeah.
where he's doing his own thing. It is so encouraging to meet you, and I look forward to being like, man, he was on the thing. Isaiah Martin sat there. He wasn't doing half the stuff he's doing now. I'm like, man, I remember when. So continue doing what you're doing. That is a very exciting. How can folks find your other work?
Google me.
Oh, mic drop.
You remember I said I was humble? You remember that?
Yeah.
What's your website? You have
It's just Google it. Just
Google
Google
it.
me. It's
Chris
probably
Black.
the first thing. Chris
Chris
Eli Black. Black without the C. BLAK.
Okay.
Chris without the H. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Chris Black and sister. Wow. You're doing this thing. You know, very often we assume that things don't exist, because when we moved in Match, in the behind the reception desk, they have, I think it was like their 10th reunion or something like that.
Yeah.
And they listed all these different festivals, and I was looking for the Black one. And then lo and behold, I'll be connected to the, get to meet the person behind the Black Film Festival. And we were just talking about the need for this and to know that it already exists.
Oh yeah.
And so, I mean, kudos to you for having the vision for this. Kudos to you for investing those sleepless nights, doing all those emails, all those phone calls, all of that in order to really for the culture. So
yeah.
Eugene Howard,
Yes, sir.
Judge.
Yes, sir.
Let me tell you something. We are, and thank you so much to Stevie said, thank you, Deacon Robert Williams, Carisha, as usual. I thought Carisha was going to be here today. But thank you for charting uncharted territory. You were in Brazoria County.
Yes, sir, Doc.
Right? Letting them hang. And that's not a euphemism. It's a double entendre. Because that is just wow. You are tilling the ground for a harvest that so many will also benefit from. You'll benefit from it too. So like, man,
I like to use the analogy really quickly because just to give some of the things that happened in Brazoria County, saying that it's a new day. Quentin Wilkes just became the mayor, Pearland, first Black mayor. So I kind of made a joke the other day that given the Marvel Avengers kind of comic book theme, that Quentin represents hope. That's the Superman of the crick. I'm Bruce Wayne. I'm Batman. That time means you finna get your ass whooped with me. So, but we both need each other.
Let me tell you, that's another one. I watched that city council meeting. That man asked him why. Why did
he was very much Clark Kent? He was very much Superman. Like, I'm gonna be above the fray, and he's a great dude. So
he's the right one for it.
But me, I'm too much like Batman. I got that alter ego. Like I'm go back and be somebody up at night.
Yeah, I would have been on the news. Like, man, who are you talking to? Chastising me? Isn't that one guy gonna tell him?
Just because you're a mayor, you're not a leader. I already knew where you was going to. Councilman Patel.
Wow.
Oh, I was in the building. I was in the room.
Wow.
I remember he said, just because you got elected mayor doesn't make you a leader.
And he's up there, the only Black person.
He's the only Black
in that body.
They
were so just egregiously disrespectful. It was almost like a skit or something. And I am I right?
It was a shit show.
Like, wow.
It was a shit show.
And so I think at what villain has to come, right? What villain has to come in order? One of my favorite poets, Langston Hughes. My favorite poem is actually "What Happens to a Dream." A dream deferred.
I was going to say that's great.
What happens to a dream deferred? Does it drop like a raisin in the sun? I never want to know. I never want to defer my dreams. I don't want to defer them. Think of all the things that you thought of doing that you just put up on a shelf and you don't see it again until you're dusting and you're like, oh, there was this thing. Go do that thing. It's not supposed to be easy. I think in this new modern society where everything is digital, everything is copy paste, Google Map, ChatGPT, we've forgotten what it feels like to get a no, to get initial disappointment. But we must understand that you have to fall off the bike and skin your knee in order to ride the bike. It is part of the process. It is the cost of entry. That confidence that you get in riding the bike only comes
Because you didn't fell off. and
after you
know.
have fallen.
Yep.
Right. And then you reassess and then you say, okay, whew, not doing that like that again. And then you continue to do that. So I think, I'm just so filled with this room today. Onward and upward.
Thank you.
And I really do want to find out more about what it is that you have. I actually write under a pseudonym, right?
Okay.
I write under the Patreon. I'll tell you about it. And I actually make a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, from the things that I write. Now I've never written a play, but it's got to be the same thing. They're short stories.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah, you love the
They're
play
short
festival.
stories. Yeah.
It's 10 short plays, a little
Mhm.
bit for everybody.
And to that point, when we did TEDx Third Ward, typical TEDx talks are in up to 18 minutes. The first time we did an event, it was from 1 to 7. So we had 16 people. But the first thing we did was we shortened it to 10 minutes because I think that's the optimal time for the mind.
Yeah.
But what I realized was if you were number 12 or 13, you sat through 11 of them. So we did this time, we had 36 speakers and we had 6 different shows of 6. So we had a 9, 11, 1, 3, 5, and 7. And a lot of people were like, well, where'd you get the idea for that? It was not only because of the understanding that, but it was also understanding we have the theater for the day.
Mhm.
So if I can fill this thing up over and over and over, now it's going to take a tighter turn.
Right.
And the people at Match were like, I don't think you can do this. I'm like, no, I timed it. It takes 7 minutes to clear this place out. 7 minutes. And that's not, rushing. We can do it. We just have to really tighten. And so we did. So kudos to you for doing that.
Oh yeah. Once you experience it, you'll never be the same. You'll be hooked,
Absolutely.
coming back. So yeah, we have some exciting things coming up.
I want to be part of it. I want to be a volunteer. I'm signing up.
Oh, that's
I want
the
to be a
best
volunteer. I want to be a
part.
supporter. Yeah.
Volunteers have a
that
great
is-
time.
That is a done deal. We actually worked on a new coloring book. It's called The Kids Who Played at the Park about Emancipation Park.
Mhm.
And so it takes Sheila Jackson Lee and Loretta Devine and all these people from Houston, draws them as children
Uh-huh.
who played at the park. And then it asks the child at the end, you too can play at the park. What do you want to be? And it's coming out soon. And to you too can play at the park. Whether you are silly and love the art of conversation and communication and want to start a podcast, ding, 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 ding. Whether you are a writer deep inside, whether you write short stories or you want to venture off and write a play, and you never know, you might end up writing for Raising Canaan, right? Or whether you're a nonprofit leader who wants to build around Black art. Fade to Black. Ding, 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 ding. Or whether you drive a big black Benz SUV and you want to run for county judge in Brazoria County. I mean, it's a pretty truck too. He was turning the wheel and the wheels in the back were doing the opposite thing. Tight turning radius. Whatever that is for you, don't defer that dream. Find some other people who may be interested in what you're interested in, because if you want to go far, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with others. There's an African proverb. You can find the people with the resources. You can find the time, because we have the time. We all get 24 hours in a day. So whatever that is for you, as we close it out every week, in the words of the great Jerry Springer, take care of yourselves and each other. Good night.